Bar now goes to 67 and a half. 67 and a half for Emily Lampkin, the first of our open women. The bar is loaded for Emily Lampkin from New South Wales, lifting in the open women category, 67 and a half kilos. Very solid lift there, and thumbs up as well for Emily Lampkin. Bar now goes to 70 kilos for Sarah Rodwell from the Northern Territory. After Sarah, we'll have Ali Clare and Joyce Heng to round out this flight. But our next lifter will be Sarah Rodwell from Northern Territory. Sarah is elite across multiple sports, lifted a pro raw powerlifting a number of times, and also is an elite level arm wrestler. Bar is loaded for Sarah Rodwell from the Northern Territory, lifting in the open women's category as the lightest woman in the open women's category. Gave a bit of a scare at the top then, but it was a good lift at the end. My correction, she's lifting the 82 and a half category, not the open category, but she is the lightest woman in that category. The bar will now go to 80 kilos for Ali Clare, the Queenslander. Bar is loaded for Ali Clare, the Queenslander, 80 kilos on the bar. Very explosive lift there for Ali, and thumbs up already. Good lifting, good opener. The bar will now go to 85 kilos for Joyce Henger from Malaysia, also lifting in the open category. The bar is loaded. Joyce Heng from Malaysia, lifting the open women's category. This is the biggest opening lift in the open women's category, 85 kilos. Look pretty good to me, and the judges thumbs up for Joyce Hen at 85 kilos. That was the biggest opening lift of the open women. And back to the start of the flight, we'll have 55 will go on the bar for Anusha Burke, the South Australian, lifting in the Masters women category. Say again, correction, 52 and a half will go on the bar for Simone Anderson from Victoria, lifting in the Masters women category. The bar is loaded for Simone Anderson from Victoria, 52 and a half kilos in the women category. Simone did 50 as her opener. She called 52 and a half as her second lift. So 30 seconds. She's got a little bit of time up her sleeve. Ten seconds left. She's called it there. So she'll have a third attempt shortly, but a missed lift there for Simone with that 52 and a half. The bar will now go to 55 for Anusha Burke from South Australia. Bar is loaded for Anusha Burke from Australia. Thumbs up there for Anusha Burke. Good lifting 55. Bar now goes to 60. 60 kilos for Siobhan Bush from Queensland. So Queensland via Ireland for Siobhan. Also one of the top-ranked open master wrestlers in Australia. Very and experienced strong woman athlete as well. So a bit of a jack of all trades is Siobhan. We're expecting some good numbers from here at the Static Monsters Masters category today. The bar is loaded with 60 kilos for Siobhan Bush. Look pretty good to me. Well, you go, a thumbs up there. Good lifting there from Siobhan Bush. Bar now go to 62 and a half. 62 and a half for Brianna Longstaff from New Zealand, lifting in the 82 and a half kilo category. Bar is loaded for Brianna Longstaff from New Zealand. 62 and a half kilos on the bar. She opened on 57 and a half. She's called a jump to 62 and a half as her second attempt. Brianna's lifting in the 82 and a half kilo women's category. Solid looking lift there from Brianna and thumbs up from the judges. And the bar will stay at 62 and a half for Melanie Power from Cook Islands. Bar is loaded for Mel Power of Cook Islands, lifting in the Masters women class. Mel took an opener of 60 kilos. She called a jump to 62 and a half. After Mel, we'll have Christy, Lydia, Kat, Amy, Emily, Sarah, Ali, and then Joyce in that order. Mel Power, here she goes. 62 and a half in the Masters category. She's got 20 seconds remaining. Enough time for another one if she gets into it. There we go. She had to work for it, but in the end she gets a thumbs up. Good lifting there, Mel Power, 62 and a half kilos. Bar will now go to 65 kilos for Christy Alehi from the Northern Territory, lifting the 82 and a half kilo women. Mel's done the next 2 weeks of training there with about 18 lifts. But going to 65 for Christy Leahy from the Northern Territory. Bar is loaded for Christy Leahy from the Northern Territory. We're seeing strongmen just get better and better in the Northern Territory with quite a few competitive athletes now, and Christy Leahy is right amongst it there. This is 65 kilos. And that shows you why. What a good lift there from Christy Leahy with 65 kilos. The bar now goes to 70 kilos for Lydia Hentke. She's in the Master Women category out of Tasmania. She opened on 65 kilos, which went very well. She's called for 70 kilos for her second attempt. This is Lydia Hentke from Tasmania, lifting in the Masters Women's category. Bar is loaded for Lydia Hentke. We've seen Tasmania take home 2 so far in the Static Monsters World Championships. Lydia will be hoping to take some silverware back to them, and with Formula 8. You can see why. There we go. We've got thumbs up from all the judges. Good lifting there, Lydia Hankey. Bar will now go to 7, or stay at 70 kilos. So for Kat Tunnicliffe, bar is loaded for Kat Tunnicliffe. Unfortunately, Kat will only be able to lift as an exhibition lifter today, but she is open on a 65 kilo log and was taking a 70 as her second attempt. Moved quite well there, and thumbs up from the judges. Good lifting there, Kat Tunnicliffe. Bar will now go to 72.5 for Amy Romig, the American. Lifting out of Northside Athletics in Fairbanks in the USA. The bar is loaded for Amy Romig. In the Masters Women's category, 2.5 kilo bar open on 65, which she moved very well. She's called for 72.5 as her second attempt. Thumbs up all around. Good lifting there, Amy Romig. The bar stays at 70.5 for Emily Lampkin. Bar loaded for Emily Lampkin from New South Wales in the open category. 72.5 kilos. Emily open on 67.5. She's called 72.5 for her second attempt. Move very quickly. Thumbs up from the judges. Good lifting there from Emily Lampkin from New South Wales. The bar will stay at 72.5 for Sarah Rodwell. Bar is loaded for Sarah Rodwell. Weighing in only 74 kilos, makes her the smallest of the women in the 82.5 category. An elite powerlifter, arm wrestler, and strong woman. She gets a down call from the judges. And thumbs up all round. So good lift there for Sarah Rodwell. The bar will now go to 85 kilos for Ali Clare. Ali Clare is from Queensland. Open women, open on 80 kilos. She's called massive 85 kilo second attempt. At the moment, she's 5 kilos behind Joyce Heng from Malaysia. 85 kilos will put them neck and neck. Of course, Joyce does have a lift to come. But here we go. 85 will go on the bar. So at the pointy end of the open women, we've got both Ali and Joyce. The bar is loaded with 85 kilos for Ali. This is to put her up level pegging from Malaysia. Unfortunately, Ali's timed out there, so no lift for her. Best lift of 80 kilos so far. She still has a lift to come, and now the bar will now go to 90 kilos. The leader in the open women at the moment is Joyce Heng from Malaysia. She leads Ali by 5 kilos, 85 to 80, but Joyce has called 90 kilos for her second attempt. This will give her quite a handy lead over Ali if she is successful. So the bar will now be loaded to 90 kilos for Joyce Heng. And just as an announcement, if you're a men's lifter and haven't given an opener yet, okay, the bar is loaded for Joyce Heng with 90 kilos. If you're a men's lifter and haven't given your opener yet, you're going to have a bad time. So please come and give your number to Lily at the desk if you're a men's lifter. Was going to run into the squash for a minute there, but she's pulled herself up and got a good lift for that 90 kilo. That gives her a very handy lead over Ali Claire and the rest of the open women field. We'll go back to the start of the flight here for Simone Anderson from Victoria. Bar is loaded for Simone Anderson, 52.5 kilos. The Victorian missed her second attempt at 52.5. She's called this for her third. 52.5 kilos for Simone Anderson. She's got 30 seconds. This is Simone Anderson from Victoria. Her third and final log press attempt at 52.5 kilos. And she's still smiling. She has a missed lift for her. Will be 50 kilos. The bar will now go to 60 kilos. 60 kilos for Anusha Burke from South Australia. Don't forget, events like this don't happen without sponsors like Explosive 8. We thank very much for their massive sponsorship of this event and other Static Monsters events. And of course, Stand or Submit for the wonderful equipment we're using today. Champion Health, thank you, James, for coming and supporting the athletes by offering physiotherapy services out the back. Coco's Gym, who've been a supporter of Static Monsters concept since the beginning. And if you're in the arena, go check out the guys at THS Nutrition. They're Dan and Stacey will give you some samples there, and they've got FBOS, so go buy something off them. We're having a bit of a brains trust here with the spotters. Then we're taking our feet off soon to count up how much weight we need on this bar. It is 60 kilos will be the weight they need to load on for Nusha Burke. Very complicated number. We should get to it soon. Looks like we're satisfied. We've got 60 kilos on the bar. Nusha Burke, your bar is loaded. Nusha Burke from South Australia, lifting in the muck women category. Good lifting there from Nusha Burke. It's a virtual thumbs up from Drew, who's busy chatting. He's obviously got better things to do than judge. But anyway, good lifting there from Nusha Burke with a good third lift of 60 kilos. Brianna Longstaff, New Zealand, 65 kilos. After Brianna's attempt at 65, we'll have Mel, Christy, Siobhan, Lydia, Kat, Emily, Sarah, Amy, Ali, and Joyce. And here we have Brianna Longstaff, the Kiwi. Good lift so far at 57.5, 62.5. This is 65 kilos. Good lift there from Brianna in the 82.5 kilo ladies class. Bar will stay at 65 now for Mel Power from the Cook Islands. Bar is loaded. We've got 15 seconds left. If she hustles, she may get another opportunity. Unfortunately, a missed lift there for Mel Power. Best lift today for Mel was 62.5. The bar will now go to 67.5 for Christy Leahy from New Zealand, from Northern Territory. Christy Leahy. The bar is loaded for Christy Leahy from Northern Territory, lifting the 82.5 kilo category. She got 15 seconds. She got one more crack. And unfortunately, a mislift there for Christy, but a good 65 for her second attempt. The bar will now go to 70 kilos. 70 kilos for Siobhan Bush from Queensland, lifting in the Masters category. Bar is loaded for a hang on. I've jumped the gun there. The bar is loaded for Siobhan Bush from Queensland. We have 10 seconds left for Siobhan. Unfortunately, a mislift there for Siobhan, but a brave effort. Best lift is 60 kilos for her. The bar will now go to 75. A 75 for Lydia Hankey from Tasmania. Is loaded for Lydia Henke from Tasmania, lifting the Masters category at a second lift of 70 kilos. It's called 75 for her third. Lift there, Lydia Hankey, 75 kilos there in the Masters women category. But stay at 75 now for Kat Tunnicliffe in the 82.5 kilo category. The bar loaded for Kat Tunnicliffe of Victoria. I think Kat goes 65 and 70. She called for 75. Kat is lifting as an exhibition lifter only. She made it look harder than it had to, but there we go. We got thumbs up there for Kat Tunnicliffe from the bar will stay at 75 now for Emily Alamkin from New South Wales. Bar is loaded for Emily Alamkin from New South Wales. Lifting in the open women's category, she hit 72.5 kilos. She's called for 75 as her third attempt. 75 kilos on the bar for Emily Alamkin from New South Wales. That moves super well for him. In fact, I bet she wishes she could heavier. The bar will stay at 75 kilos now for Sarah Rodwell, Northern Territory, lifting in the 82.5 category. The bar is loaded for Sarah. Very experienced strength athlete across powerlifting, strongwoman, and arm wrestling. Here she comes at 75 kilos. She's the owner of a massive deadlift, so she'll be pretty happy with a good total coming into the deadlift part of the show. Yeah, we got thumbs up there. Good lifting there from Sarah Rodwell, 75 kilos. The bar will go to 77.5, 77.5. Amy Arrow from the USA will be attempting 77.5. She's gone 65, 72.5 and scored 77.5. Bar is loaded for Amy Aromig. .30 seconds left on the clock here for Amy, so she's got time for another crack. This is 77.5 kilos for Amy. She's gone 72.5. This is 77.5 in the open women's. She's got 15 seconds left, so she's really got to move now if she's going to get this. Unfortunately timed out. Best lift will be her second attempt at 72.5. The bar got 85 for Ali Claire. At the pointy end of the open, Claire on 80 kilos, and Joyce Heng on 90. Ali has called 80 for her final attempt to try and close that gap a little. The bar is low for Ali Claire from Queensland, 85 kilos. Should really make this 85 to get her within catching distance of Joyce Heng from Malaysia. Ten seconds left on the clock. Unfortunately has timed out there, Ali Claire, so her best lift will be the 80 kilos first attempt. And she's just behind this lady, Joyce Heng, who will be attempting 100 kilos from Malaysia. 100 kilos will be the weight on the bar. The bar is loaded for Joyce Heng from Malaysia with 100 kilos. There you go, Joyce Hen currently leading the open women's category. 100 kilo log press to get her a little bit further ahead if she's successful. Seconds, looks like she's called it there. Let's lift today for that'll be 90 kilos. We'll be having a 5-minute rest now before the start of the men's categories. So 5 minutes from now. So whilst you're here, if you're here in the stadium, come down and see Stacey and Dan at THS Nutrition and go check out their, don't worry about anything else they've got, but try their Mars bar protein bars there because they're really good. Or don't try them and I'll eat them all. A big thank you, of course, to Explosive Vape who've supported this support and this event with massive sponsorship from those guys. Thank you to Stand or Submit. Mason, you work wonders with your equipment. Also, thank you, of course, to Coco's Gym who've supported Static Monsters since day one. Champion physio James Grafton has been supporting Strength in Australia for a long time. All Metal Magic made some fantastic trophies. If you haven't seen the photos of them, get on the Static Monsters website and check them out. And also Alpha Fit for supporting this. So we'll be back in about 4.5 minutes now, and we'll have the 105 kilo and open men with a starting log of 105 kilos by the looks of it. We'll see you shortly. Josh Bourne and Dan Mal. Josh Bourne and Dan Mal, please come up here to the desk and give some opening lifts. Okay, ladies and gents, we'll be getting underway in just a moment. This is the Explosive Ape Static Monsters World Championships 2019 here at the beautiful Carrara Indoor Sports Stadium. In case you're wondering what the squeak is over there, the Australian Squash is having their open doubles championships. Lots of squeaking and shadow squashing happening over there. This will be the 105 and open men this category. In this order, Mitch Mayhew, Kingsley, Mason, Chuck, Sam, Daniel, Josh, Ben, Daniel, Jean Stephen. And we have an opener of 105 for Mitch Mayhew. The bar is loaded. Mitch Mayhew from New South Wales, your bar is loaded. Mitch Mayhew, your bar is loaded, and the clock is ticking, Mitch. Bit of luck, we've got Kingsley Saville and Mason over there ready to go. This is a 105 kilo opening, a log attempt on this beautiful stand or submit a log. It's a down call and a thumbs up there for Mitch. Gives everyone a bit of a fright by coming out late. But anyway, you now go to Kingsley Saville, 105 on the bar for the Queenslander. Bar is loaded for Kingsley Saville, a Queenslander in the 105 kilo men's category. He's called for a 105 kilo opening, a log attempt. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 5 men in the 105 kilos and 5 men in the opens. Yeah, thumbs up there. Good lift there for Kingsley Saville. I'll now go to 115. 115 for Mason Douglas Cartwright. Bar is loaded for Mason Douglas Cartwright. Another lifter in the 105 men category, lifting 115 kilos as his opener. $115 is on that bar for Mason Cartwright. Gets a down call there with his 115 opener. Good lift there for Mason. Bar now goes to 130 for Chuck Krutoulis from the USA. 130 will go on the bar. Just under 300 pounds where Chuck comes from. Bar is loaded for Chuck Krutoulis. A solid looking opener there for Chuck. Thumbs up all round, good lifting there for the American Chuck Krutoulis. Bar now go to 135 for Dan Mason. Here's Dan Mason, 135 kilos on the bar, just shy of 300 pounds. Lifting the open men's category. Very strong opener there, and thumbs up from the judges. There we go. Good lifting there for Dan Mason from Queensland. Next we have from Victoria, Josh Byrne at the same weight, 135. Josh will be in the open men, as was Dan. 135 on the bar there. Bar is loaded, calls head judge Drew Spriggs for Josh Byrne. A little bit extra chalk on his pants there. Make it look like he finished baking a cake this morning. 135 is on the bar. Gets a down call and thumbs up from the judges. Good lifting there from Josh Bond, 135. Bar will now go to 140. 140 for Sam Lesurf in the 105 kilo men. We have a combined flight here of 105 kilo men and open men. And Sam, this is the heaviest opener of the 105 kilo men with a 140. Bar is loaded for Sam Lesurf from Victoria. 140 kilo opening log press attempt in the 105 kilo men's class. Gets a down call and the thumbs up from the judges. Good lifting there, Sam Lesurf. At 140 will be the biggest lift in the 105 kilo men's class. Now we have a couple of open men coming. 140 for Ben Thompson from Canada. The bar is loaded. Just another one of our international athletes here. Ben Thompson from There you go, so nice. You have to do it twice. Good lifting there from Ben Thompson, 140. We'll stay at 140 for Dan Mal from Victoria. Bar is loaded. Daniel Mal from Victoria, looking resplendent in some pink lifting shoes there. Showing support, no doubt, for manufacturers of pink lifting shoes. Gets a down call and a thumbs up there from all the judges. 140, good lift there for Dan Mal. The bar will now go to an enormous 165 kilos for Jean-Stephen Koroboff, Coco to his mates. Owner, of course, of Coco's Gym, who are a major sponsor and supporter of this event. I've heard some big numbers being bounced around about what Coco's planning on doing, but the rubber hits the road now. 165 kilos on the bar for the pro strong. Well-regarded strongman athlete, of course, being a pro strongman and coach from the Gold Coast in Queensland. The bar is loaded for Coco, 165 kilos. $165 kilos on the bar. Easy as you like. Good lifting there from Coco. I understand we'll have a 3-minute rest in between the start of the next flight here to give the guys a rest. Big thank you to Coco for the loan of his TV here to support the event and all its bookmarks as they came. Big thank you, of course, to Explosive Ape and Coco's Gym, THS Nutrition, Alpha Fit, All Metal and Champion Physio and Alpha Fit for supporting the event. Go check out Dan and Stacey over there on the THS stand and go try their stuff. And we'll have you back on deck in about 2.5 minutes with the second lifts for the open men and the 105 men's category. Biggest lifts of the day so far for the 105s was the opener from Sam Lesurf with 140 in the 105s and Jean-Stephen Koroboff with 165 in the open men's. Looks like we've got about a minute left on the clock before we're getting there. Oh, there we go, 30 seconds correction on the clock before we'll have the bar being loaded for the first lifter. 110 will go on that first bar for Kingsley Saville. We got big thanks to the loaders who've been running around spotting and loading for 2 days. Without these guys, these events wouldn't happen, of course. And the judges who've given up their time as well, the very experienced Drew Spriggs, John Wells and Colin Webb. You won't find more reputable people in strongman in Australia. It looks like we're getting pretty close. I'm looking at Drew with his comb over. The bar is loaded for Kingsley Saville from Queensland, 110 kilo second log press attempt. Kingsley did wait until the last minute to come out for his last attempt. It must be part of his strategy to give everyone a good fright. Here he comes, rushing out last minute, 110 kilos on the bar for Kingsley Saville. The show doesn't start without Kingsley, apparently. And a solid looking opener for Kingsley. Good lifting there from the Queenslander. But they go to 112.5, 112.5 for Mitch Mayhew from New South Wales. Mitch opened on 105 and it's called 112.5 for his second attempt. The bar is loaded for Mitch Mayhew from New South Wales in the 105 kilo men. .30 seconds left on the clock here for Mitch. 112.5 kilos. .15 seconds. He's got one last throw of the dice here for 112.5 kilos. He throws it down in disgust and takes the mixed lift. Bar will now go to 120 for a Mason Douglas Cartwright from Queensland. This is the 105 kilo men's category of these lifters. 120 will go on the bar. Mason opened on 115 after giving him a bit of a fright. He's called for 120 as his second attempt. Bar is loaded for Mason Douglas Cartwright. It's a thumbs up. Good lifting there. 120 for Mason Douglas Cartwright. Bar will now go to 140 kilos. For people watching at home in Dallas, Texas, that's 308 pounds for Chuck Kutulis from Dallas, Texas in the US of A. .140 kilos. The bar is loaded for Chuck Krutalis from Dallas, Texas. There we go, a solid lift there from Chuck. We got thumbs up from the judges. Good lifting there for the Texan, Chuck Krutalis. Now we have Dan Mason up next, 145 kilos. 145 kilos on the bar, please, for Dan Mason. Bar is loaded for Dan Mason, the Queenslander. This in the open men's category, 145 kilos. He's called it there with 20 seconds left in the clock. Dan Mason. Bar will stay at 145 for Josh Bourne from Victoria. Bar is loaded for Josh Bourne. So mislift there for Josh Bourne, unfortunately. The bar will now go to stay at 145 for Ben Thompson from Canada. The bar is loaded for Ben Thompson. Lift there for Ben Thompson, the Canadian, 145 kilos. The bar will now go to 150 for Sam Lasser. With 140 opening a log, we saw Sam was a until a Chuck Krutala matched him in the 180 category. Sam is taking a 150 to try and get a little bit ahead of a Chuck. The bar is loaded there for Sam Lassurf, 150 kilos. .30 seconds left in the clock for Sam Lassurf from Victoria. This put him in the lead in the 105 kilo class. At the moment, he's equal with the Texan Chuck Krutalis on a 140 kilo best press. You got 15 seconds left there. Okay, a mislift there for Sam Lassurf. The bar will now go to 160 for Daniel Mal, Victoria, in the open category. 160 kilo attempt. At the moment, the best lift in the open category is Coco, who has a 165. This will close the gap, Daniel Mal to Coco. He's called for 160 kilos. Just having a bit of a brains trust here about how much equals 160. Need some shoes off here, fellas, and we'll count up 160 and work it out. Don't forget to carry the one, fellas. Times pi, carry the one. There we go, we got it now. 160 kilos on the bar for Mal. Bar is loaded for Dan Mal, lifting the open men category. He weighed in at only 107 kilos, so very close to being a 105 himself. Definitely the smallest of the open men. A big 160 attempt. .30 seconds left on the clock for Dan Mal to have another crack at this 160. He's called it there on that 160 attempt. The bar will now be loaded to 180 kilos, 180 kilos for Jean-Stephen Korobov from Queensland, owner of Coco's Gym. From France via South Pacific via Australia. He's a Gold Coast resident, owns Coco's Gym, massive supporter of strongman and is a pro strongman himself. He's a legend of Australian strength sports, and we're going to see some big numbers today, I think. 180 on the bar. The bar is loaded. Jean-Stephen Korobov, he's a local boy, ladies and gentlemen. Get behind him, 180 kilo log press. Gets a down call and a respectful bow to the crowd. Well done, Jean-Stephen Korobov, 180 kilos. Puts him as a significant leader there in the open men's category. We'll now have a 3-minute rest to give these guys a recovery period. Thank you, of course, to sponsors Explosive Ape, Coco's Gym, Champion Health, James Grafton, All Metal Magic, Stand or Submit, Alpha Fit, and, of course, go see Dan and Stacey there at THS Nutrition. And Lucia, who's there helping out, by the looks of it. So go jump over there and grab some free samples. And they've got FBOS, so if you want to buy some stuff and support the people who support our sport, that would be much appreciated. We'll be back on board in about 3 minutes for the final round of lifting for the 105 kilo and open men categories. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here at this Explosive Static Monsters World Championship, we're going to have 112 will be loaded on the bar. We'll have Mitch Mayhew out in just a moment in the 105 kilo men's category. The final round of log press will be Mitch Mayhew, Kinsley Seville, Mason, Daniel, Josh, Chuck, Ben, Sam, Dan, and John Stephen. So we're just waiting on John Wells to take his seat here, the grandfather of Australian strongman. He's, yeah, as you can see, at the age of 32, John's had a rough life with some heavy strongman training, and it's done him pretty well. Bar is loaded for Mitch Mayhew. 112.5 on the bar, please, Mitch. The bar is loaded. Here he is, Mitch Mayhew out of Adonis Athletics in Penrith, the strongest gym in Western Sydney. Go check him out across there. Sean Wells and his team do some amazing things. 112 kilos on the bar here for Mitch Mayhew from New South Wales in the 105 kilo class. Oh, I think everyone was willing that up, and unfortunately a miss there for Mitch. As he says as he walks off the stage. Bar will now go to 117.5, 117.5 for Kingsley Saville, the Queenslander. The bar is loaded for Kingsley Saville, Queenslander, lifting in the 105 kilo men's class, 117.5 kilo final attempt. We've seen Kingsley go 105, 110. This is 117.5. Seconds left on the clock there for Kingsley. Come on, Kingsley, 117.5 kilos. Come and get it. Nothing like a bit of a touch-up from the handlers. There we go. The stand or submit log knew how to stop. Good reason to go see Mason and buy a stand or submit log. 110 kilos, best lift for Kingsley Saville. Bar will now go to 125. 125 for a Mason Douglas Cartwright. Bar is loaded there for a Mason Douglas Cartwright. 125 kilos on the bar. We saw Mason with 120 as his second attempt. He scored 125 for his third. Got it pretty close there. 30 seconds left. He's got another roll of the dice here. 125 kilos for his final log press attempt for the Queenslander, Mason Douglas Cartwright. Lifting in the 105 kilo men's category. Timed out, unfortunately. Best lift will be his lift of 120. The bar will now go 145. 145 for Dan Mason, the Queenslander. We saw Dan open on 135, missed 145 as his second. He's called for 145 for his third attempt. This is Dan Mason from Queensland in the open men's category. 145, a final attempt. Bar is loaded. Dan Mason, 145 kilo, final log press attempt. He got it above his head, couldn't quite stabilise it. He's still got a little bit of time up his sleeve. It is hard to press that 145 multiple times. Here we go, Dan Mason, 145. Unfortunately, no lift there for Dan Mason. Bar will now stay at 145 for Josh Bourne, the Victorian. Josh in exactly the same boat. He opened on 135, missed 145, has called for 145 as his third. The bar is loaded for Josh Bourne, the Victorian, 145 kilo final attempt. Unfortunately, missed lift there for Josh. Next up, we have Chuck Krutalis, the Texan, 7.5 kilos, please, for Chuck. It's around about 325 in Texas. The bar is loaded here for Chuck Krutalis, the Texan, 147.5 kilos. 147.5 kilos for the Texan, Chuck Krutalis. Started as 325 pounds in Texas. For anyone playing along at home. He's got 30 seconds. He'll get another crack at this. 147.5 here for Chuck. Good luck, Chuck. 147.5. Looks like called it there for the final lift. The 150 on the bar, please, for Ben Thompson, the Canadian. The bar is loaded for Ben Thompson, the Canadian. There we go, Ben Thompson, the Canadian. 150 kilos. Good lifting there for the Canadian Ben Thompson. Bar will stay at 150 for Sam LeSurf. The bar is loaded for Sam LeSurf, 150 kilos for his final attempt. Yeah, good lift there for Sam LeSurf, the Victorian, 150 kilos, which does keep him in the lead in the 105 kilo men's category. We've two more open men to come, but Daniel Mao open on 140, missed to 160, but called a jump to 165. He wants to close that gap between himself and Coco. He's called a big jump to 165 at only 107 kilos body weight. Bar is loaded for Daniel Mao. This lift there, unfortunately, from Dan Mao. The bar now goes to 190 kilos, 190 kilos. The current Australian log press record is 190, held by Rongo Keane. This is to match that number. But more importantly, it's to give Coco a solid lead at the Static Monsters World Championship coming into the deadlift part of the show. Bar is loaded, calls head judge Drew Spriggs. Side judge John Wells here, checking his Tinder profile. Good matches in the Gold Coast in John's Market. Here he comes, John Stephen Koroboff, owner of Coco's Gym and a strongman, 190 kilos. Got 30 seconds left on the clock. Come on, Coco. He's called it there. Best lift of the day for Coco. 180 kilos, 180 kilos. And that concludes that part of the show. We have a 10-minute break now until we get back to the deadlifts for the women's. So that means we'll be back at Gold Coast time, 11:35. You can do your own research as to what that calculates to your part of the woods. Thank you to our sponsors, Explosive Ape, Coast Gym, THS Nutrition, Alpha Fit, All Metal Magic, Stand or Submit, and of course THS Nutrition. Check out Dan and Stacey and go have some free samples and some stuff. We'll be back in 10 minutes for the deadlift portion of the show. Right, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the deadlift part of the show for the Static World Championship presented by Explosive Ape. We're loading this axle up to 170 kilos for the opening lift of the Masters Women. We have lifters in this order: Nusha Burke, Siobhan Bush, Simone Anderson, Mel, Kat, Brianna, Amy, Christy, Emily, Ali, Sarah, Lydia, and Joyce. So we got one set. Bar is loaded. Nusha Burke, first athlete out. Lifting in the Masters women's category. She log pressed 60 kilos. This is 170 kilo axle deadlift. Good lift there from Nusha Burke from South Australia. The bar will now go to 175. 175 for Siobhan Bush, lifting in the Masters women's category. Bar is loaded. Siobhan Bush, 175 kilos. Good lifting there from Siobhan Bush with 175. Bar now goes to 180. 180 for Simone Anderson, the Victorian. The bar is a low 180 for Simone Anderson, the Victorian, lifting women's category. We saw a 50 kilo log press for Simone earlier today. It was a 180 kilo axle deadlift attempt. Good lift there from Simone Anderson, 180 kilos in the books. Bar will stay at 180 for Mel Apoa from the Cook Islands. Bar is loaded for Mel Apoa, 180 kilos. Lifting in the Masters women category. Log press 62.5 early today. Call for 180. It took a little while to get moving, but once it moved, it went all right. That's Mel Apoa from the Cook Islands, 180 kilos. Bar now goes to 185. 85 for a Cat Tunnicliffe. Bar is loaded for Cat Tunnicliffe, the Victorian, 185 kilo deadlift attempt. Good lift there for Cat Tunnicliffe. Bar now goes to 187.5, 187.5. That's one short of Please the Loaders, getting up to put on 2.5 kilos on the bar. It'll be for Brianna Longstaff, the New Zealander, in 2.5 kilo. 187.5 for Brianna Longstaff. Bar is loaded. A good lift there, 187.5 for Brianna Longstaff. Bar will now go to 192.5, 192.5 for the American Amy Aromig. Bar is loaded for Amy Aromig, 192.5 kilos for the American. Good lifting there for the American Amy Aromig in the Masters Women's category. Christy Leahy from Northern Territory will be up next, 195 for Christy Leahy. Bar is loaded for Christy Leahy from the Northern Territory, 195 kilos. Gets a down call, good lift there from Christy Leahy from Northern Territory, 195. Now goes to 210 for Emily Lampkin. Bar is loaded for the New South Welsh woman, Emily Lampkin. Lifting the open women, she's called for 210 kilos. Thumbs up there for Emily Lampkin, 210 kilos. Good lifting there for Emily. Bar will now go to 220 for Ali Clare, the Queenslander. Lifting in the open women's category. The bar is low. Yeah, 220 kilos on the bar for Ali Clare from Queensland. Go, thumbs up. Good lifting there from Ali Clare, 220. Bar will stay at 220 for Joyce Heng. Joyce Heng from Malaysia. The bar is loaded. Good lifting there for Joyce Heng, the Malaysian, lifting the open women's category, 220. The bar will now go to an enormous 245. 245 for Sarah Rodwell. The 82.5 kilo ladies category, weighing in at only 74 kilos. She's the smallest of this category. Quite likely has the biggest guns in the so Sarah Rodwell with that 5 kilo opening deadlift. Bar is loaded for the Northern Territory athlete Sarah Rodwell. It's a down call, very fast and easy once she got those straps. Good lifting there, Sarah Rodwell, 245. The bar will now go to 250. 250 for Lydia Henske from Tasmania, lifting the Masters women's category. So we're looking now on totals so far. The highest total in the open women is currently Joyce Heng with a 310. In the 82.5 kilo women is Sarah Rodwell with 320. And in Masters women, the biggest total may well be this woman if she is successful. The bar is loaded for Lydia Henske, 250 kilos. We got thumbs up there from the judges. Good lifting there, 250 for Lydia Henske for the Tasmanian. Now we're back to 185. 185 for the second lift at Nusha Burke with the first athlete on deck. Bar is loaded for Nusha Burke from South Australia, 185 second attempt. Thumbs up there from the judges. Good lifting there from Nusha Burke, 185. Bar will stay at 185 for the Queenslander, Siobhan Bush. Bar is loaded, Siobhan Bush. Good lifting there from Siobhan Bush, 185 kilos in the books, Masters athlete. Now go 91 to Simone Anderson. 190 kilos for Simone Anderson, 100 on the bar. Lifting in the Masters, a women's category. Bar is loaded for Simone Anderson, the Victorian, lifting in the Masters women's category. Unfortunately, a missed lift there, not quite long there for Simone. Bar will now go to 190 for Mel Power from the Cook Islands. The bar is loaded, 190 kilos. Thumbs up, good lifting there from Mel Power, 190 kilos. Bar now goes to 195, 195 for Kat Tunnicliffe, the Victorian. Bar is loaded for Kat Tunnicliffe, 195 kilos. Thumbs up from the judges. Good lifting there from Kat Tunnicliffe. Bar now goes to 200 kilos. 200 kilos for Brianna Longstaff, the Kiwi. Bar is for Kat Tunnicliffe. Brianna Longstaff, 200 kilos. Good lifting there from Brianna. 200 kilos in the books. 202 and a half. 202 and a half for Christine Leahy from Northern Territory. The bar is loaded for Christy Leahy, Northern Territory, 202 and a half kilos. Good lifting there from Christy Leahy, 202 and a half kilos. Bar will now go to 210. 210 for Amy Aromig from the US of A. Amy opened on a 192 and a half axle deadlift. She's called 210 for her second attempt. The bar is loaded for Amy Aromig. Thumbs up there, good lifting there. Amy Aromig, 210 kilos. Bar now goes to 225. 225 for Emily Lampkin. Bar is loaded, 225 kilos for Emily Lampkin lifting the open women's category. We saw Emily open with a 210. She's called for 225 as her second attempt. Nice easy lift there for Emily, and in fact a good lift there puts her snapping on the heels of Ali and Joyce at the top end of the open women. Now we have 230 on the bar for Ali Claire. At the moment, our leader in the open women is Joyce Hen from Malaysia, but she's only 10 kilos ahead of Ali. A good lift here at 230 will put Ali on a level pegging with Joyce Heng. Bar is loaded for Ali Claire. She wants this to put her equal with Joyce Heng from Malaysia at the top end of the open women. Unfortunately, a mislift there for Ali. The judges wasn't quite locked out. So a mislift there for Ali with that. And there we go, a good lift from Ali Claire. Okay, the bar will now loaded to 230. So we now have in the open women, we have so both Ali and Joyce are on 310 as a total. A good lift here from Joyce will put her back in the lead. 230 is on the bar. Very easy lift there for Joyce Heng. Plenty left in the tank. And she is now the outright leader in the open women at this stage. One more deadlift to come from the women. Now this lady is the open leader in the 82.5 kilo women. Sarah Rodwell, open on 245. It's called 255 as her second attempt. Bar is loaded for Sarah Rodwell, elite lifter and arm wrestler from Northern Territory. Also demonstrating herself to be quite a handy deadlifter. 255 kilos on the bar, weighing in only 74 kilos in the 82.5 category. Thumbs up all round for Sarah Rodwell. Okay, the bar will now go to 270 for Lydia Hentke. 270 on the bar for Lydia Hentke. Lydia is the leader in the Masters women. This will give her quite a handy lead if she's successful. Bar is loaded for Lydia Hentke, the Tasmanian. Thumbs up all round for a good lift for Lydia Henke. 270 kilo, a good lift there. And that leaves her as the definite leader in the Masters women category on 345. The leader in the 82.5 will be Sarah Rodwell on 330, and the leader in the Opens will be Joyce Hen on 320. The bar will be back to 200 kilos in a moment for Anusha Burke to have her final deadlift attempt. The bar is loaded for Anusha with 200 kilos. Anusha Burke from South Australia. Final deadlift attempt in the Masters women category. Good lifting. Finish from Anusha Burke, 200 kilos. The bar will now stay at 200 kilos for Siobhan Bush, the Queenslander, another Masters athlete. The bar is loaded for Siobhan Bush. Third and a final deadlift attempt for Siobhan. One of the top female master wrestlers in the country, and also proving herself to be a very handy deadlifter. Good lifting there for Siobhan. 200 kilos locked out. The bar will stay at 200 kilos now for Simone Anderson from Victoria. Bar is loaded for Simone Anderson from Victoria with 200 kilos. Fortunately, a missed lift there for Simone. Her best deadlift was 180 kilos. The bar will stay at 200 now for Melanie Power from the Cook Islands. Bar is loaded for Melanie Power. Good lifting there from Melanie Power. Bar will now go to 205 for Kat Tunnicliffe. Bar is loaded for Kat Tunnicliffe, 205 kilos as her final deadlift attempt. .30 seconds left on the clock for Kat Tunnicliffe. Fortunately, a mid-lift there for her final deadlift attempt. Bar will now go to 205, 210 for Brianna Longstaff for the Kiwi. Bar is loaded for Brianna Longstaff from New Zealand, 210 kilos. A missed lift there, unfortunately. The bar will now go back to 205 for Christy Leahy from the Northern Territory. The bar is loaded for Christy Leahy from the Northern Territory. For 25 seconds. Unfortunately, a missed lift there for Christy Leahy. Bar will now go to 215 for Amy Aromig. Here she comes, Amy Romig from the USA, lifting the Masters women's category, 215 kilo on the bar. The bar is loaded for Amy Aromig. Fortunately, no missed lift there for Amy Aromi from the USA. Best deadlift of the day was 210. Bar now goes to 235. 235 for Ali Claire. Ali's currently sitting 10 kilos behind Joyce Heng. She hasn't elected to chase for the win. She's called for a 235. Bar is loaded for Ali Claire from Queensland. Wasn't quite locked out, so we've still got a bit of time on the clock. You've got 20 seconds left on the clock. Hasn't quite been able to lock it out. Unfortunately, timed out there. Missed lift there for Ali Claire from Queensland. But we're now going to 240, 240 for Emily Lampkin from New South Wales. The bar is loaded for Emily Lampkin, 240 kilos for her final attempt. A good lift here will actually help her jump over Ali Claire and put her in a second position. A good lift there for Emily Lampkin. And does put her up in a second position in the open women's class. Now here's the leader in the open women's class, Joyce Heng, has called for 240 as well. Bar is loaded for Joyce Heng from Malaysia. Thumbs up there, good lifting there for Joyce Heng. 240 is her best deadlift, which puts her in the lead in the open women's division. The bar now goes to an enormous 262.5 for Sarah Rodwell from the Northern Territory. 262.5. Bar is loaded. Here she is, Sarah Rodwell from Northern Territory. The best guns in sport. I wouldn't own a t-shirt if I had guns like this. 262.5 on the bar. Good lift there for Sarah Rodwell, 262.5 kilos. And does put her in the lead in the 82.5 kilo women's category with an enormous total of 337.5. The bar will now go to 280, 280 for the biggest attempted deadlift from a woman on this competition for Lydia Hankey from Tasmania in the Masters category, 280 kilos. Bar is loaded for Lydia Hankey from Tasmania, lifting in the Masters women's category, 280 kilos. Good lift there from Lydia Hankey. There we go. That's the end of the women's classes with an enormous 280 from Lydia Hankey. We have a 10-minute break, so in Gold Coast time, we'll be back just after 12:20, or you can do your own sums of what that works out as where you're from. Don't forget our sponsors, Explosive Ape, major sponsors of the Explosive Ape Static Monsters World Championships. Coco's Gym, Champion Physio. Thanks to James Graft and All Metal Magic, of course, for the fantastic trophies. Stand or Submit and Alpha Fit. And Dan and Stacey over there on the THS stand. Go check them out. They've got FPOS, so buy something off them and support the sport, the company that supports us. Thanks, everyone. We're back in 10 minutes. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Explosive Ape Static Monsters 2019 World Championships. The last session of lifting coming up in just a few minutes. We're going to have the open men and 105 kilo men here having their final lifts. Lifting will be in this order: Dan Mal, Kingsley Seville, Mason Douglas Cartwright, Chuck, Mitch, Josh, Sam, Daniel, Johnston, and Ben Thompson, the Canadian. So the opening deadlift will be 280, and it looks like we've got head judge Drew Spriggs is called. The bar is loaded for Daniel Mal, the Victorian, the final session of lifting here at the Static Monsters World Championships. 280 kilos on the bar. We saw Dan Mal have a 140 log earlier today in the open men's category. Weighing in at only 107 kilos makes him the smallest of the open athletes. Gets a down call and thumbs up from 2 out of 3 judges. John Wells is chewing, so now he's thumbs up as well. There we go, and a sour look because maybe he did put his thumbs up and I didn't see it. Anyway, bar will stay at 280 for Kingsley Seville. Bar is loaded for Kingsley Seville. Good lift there from Kingsley with 280. Bar will now go to 320. 320 for Mason Douglas Cartwright, who'll be followed by Chuck Crutulis, Mitch Mayhew, Josh Byrne, Sam Surf, Dan Mason, Jean Stephen Koroboff, and Ben Thompson. Bar is loaded, 320 kilos from Mason Douglas Cartwright. Good lifting there from Mason, that 320. 320 will stay on the bar for the American Chuck Crutulis from Texas, 320 kilos in the open men. The is loaded for Chuck. A 140 kilo log lift earlier today. This is 320 kilo axle deadlift. Good lift there for Chuck. The bar will now go to 330. 330 for Mitch Mayhew from New South Wales. Earlier today, we saw a 105 kilo log press from Mitch Mayhew, lifting in the 105 kilo men's division. Bar is loaded for Mitch Mayhew from New South Wales in the 100 kilo men's division. Thumbs up there, good lift there for Mitch Mayhew. Bar will now go to 360, a big jump to 360 for Josh Bourne, lifting the open men's category. Josh is out of Victoria. It's called for 360 as he's opening deadlift attempts in the axle deadlift. Josh's log lift early today was 135. Bar is loaded for Josh Bourne, 360 kilos. Good lift there for Josh Aborn. The bar will stay at 360 now for Sam LeSurf, the last of the 105 kilo category. And a successful lift here will put him in the lead in the 105 category as well. 360 on the bar for the Victorian Sam LeSurf. Good lift there for Sam LeSurf, 360. The bar will now go 380 for Dan Mason in the open men. So now going back to Sam LeSurf, 510 is his total at this stage, and that puts him in the lead by a significant amount in the 105 kilo men. In fact, Chuck Krutoulis from the USA is second with 460. But now we have a 380 on the bar here for Dan Mason. Bar is loaded, calls head judge Drew Spriggs. Aptly assisted by John Wells and Colin Webb. There you go, with a very efficient range of motion there. We see Dan Mason there at 380 as his opening deadlift attempt. Bar will now go to 400 for Coco, John Stephen Koroboff. Of course, owner of Coco's Gym, who are a major sponsor of today's event and a big supporter of the Static Monsters concept. Bar is loaded for Jean-Stephen Koroboff from Coco's Gym here in Queensland in the open men, 400 kilo open. A good there for Jean-Stephen Koroboff. A good lift there puts him on a 580 total, which is an enormous total with 2 deadlifts to come. But this man, Ben Thompson, has called for 430. Now, Ben did, his log left was 30 kilos less than Coco's, but a good deadlift here. He's called for 30 kilos more. We'll put them on level pegging coming in the second and third deadlifts. So 430 on the bar, please, for the Canadian Ben Thompson. Good lift there for Ben Thompson from Canada. So that puts him level pegging, him and Coco both on a total of 580 with 2 deadlifts to come. We'll have an exciting finish in the opens by the looks of it. We'll have a 3-minute break now, and then we'll be back to the second deadlifts for the open and the 105 class men. This is the Explosive Ape Static Monsters World Championship 2019, supported by Explosive Ape, of course. A great brand that makes equipment for strongman comps the world over, and have been a big supporter of the Static Monsters World Championship both last year. Coco's Gym, of course, a big supporter of the Static Monsters concepts. All metal magic for the fantastic trophy. James Grafton from Champion Physio has worked tirelessly with the athletes for 2 days. Much appreciated as a sponsorship there. Stand or Submit for making this awesome equipment, including the paddle wheeler deadlift implement here, Alpha Fit. And of course, THS Nutrition. Go see Dan and Stacey here in the arena. And I'm sure they've still got some samples for you to try, and they've certainly got FPOS for you to buy stuff off them. We'll be back in about 2 minutes with the second deadlifts for this round. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Explosive 8 Static Monsters World Championship 2019. We've got about 30 seconds to go before head judge Drew Spriggs will call the first lifter for the second axle deadlifts. Lifting order in this round will be as follows. Kingsley, Daniel, Chuck, Mason, Mitch, Sam, Josh, Daniel, John Stephen, and Ben. I'm looking around as everyone is at head judge Drew Spriggs. The bar is loaded with 300 kilos for a second attempt for Kingsley Saville. The Queenslander opened on a 280 deadlift. He's called 300 as his second attempt. Kingsley's lifting the 105 kilo men's division. Good lift there from Kingsley Saville, 300 kilos. Bar now goes to 310. 310 for Daniel Mao. Bar is loaded for Daniel Mao from Victoria, 310 kilos, lifting the open men's division. These are the second deadlift attempts. We saw Daniel pull a 280 earlier today. He's called for 310 as his second deadlift attempt. Good lift there for Daniel Mel from Victoria. The bar will now go to 335 kilos. 335 kilos for this man from Texas, Chuck Kratulis. We saw earlier today 140 kilo log press for Chuck. He's called for 335, 335 for his deadlift attempt. He's currently sitting in second position in the 105 kilo category. The bar is loaded for Chuck Kratulis from Dallas, Texas, USA. He's got about 35 seconds left on the clock. 335 on the bar. He's currently in second position, but he'd really like this to solidify that number. Unfortunately, he missed that lift there. He does have a third attempt coming up in a few minutes. The bar now goes to 345. 345 for Mason Douglas Cartwright from Queensland. Shane just jumped in there. Sadie, the cleaning lady, good job, mate. Bar is loaded for Mason Douglas Cartwright, the Queenslander in the 105 kilo category. He's called for 345. And a good lift here would put him ahead of the Texan Chuck Kratulis. Gets it down, call. Good lift there from Mason. And does put him in a second position at this stage with a deadlift in hand. Bar now goes to 350, 350 for Mitch Mayhew. This is the 105 kilo men's category at this stage. Bar is loaded for Mitch Mayhew from New South Wales, 350 kilos. Thumbs up there. Good lift there for Mitch with 350. Bar now goes to 382 for Sam Lesser. Sam is the leader in the 105 kilo men at this stage, and he's on a 510 total. Scored for 382.5, which will put him up around the 532.5 a total, which is a pretty incredible. He has scored for 382.5, his deadlift number. Sam, they might need you to move this, mate, before you start. Bar is loaded for Sam Surf. A good lift there from Sam Lesser for 382.5. Barno goes to 390, 390 for Josh Byrne. Bar is loaded. Josh Bourne, 390 for the Victorian. Good lift here will put him in the third position in the open men's category. Good lift there from Josh Bourne, 390. And that good lift has put him up in a third position in the open men's category at this stage. Dan Mason up next, 400 kilos on the bar, please. 400 kilos. Bar is loaded for Dan Mason, 400 kilos. Good lift there from Dan Mason, 400 kilos. With that lift, that does jump back in front of Josh Bourne and back into third position in this competitive open class. John Stephen Koroboff and Ben Thompson, of course, are neck and neck on 580. Coco has called for 425 to try and break this deadlift as his second deadlift attempt. Bar is loaded for Coco. Good lift there from a Coco, 425, good lift. And that does put him at 605 as a total, which is an enormous total, but this man's got something to say about that. Ben Thompson has called for 1,000 pounds, 455 kilos. We saw in the Masters division yesterday, even LaRue pulled this, and Ben Thompson has called it as a second attempt. So 455 on the bar for the Canadian Ben Thompson. And a good lift here will put him, once again, equal with Coco. The kicker is, of course, Coco weighs about 1,700 grams less. So on formula, if these guys are equal at the end of the day. Long way to go yet, though. This is 1,000 pounds for Ben Thompson, the Canadian. Good lift there, 1,000 pounds. Second time we've seen 1,000 pounds go up this weekend. Last time was by Australian Eben LaRue in the Masters division. This time by Canadian Ben Thompson. There we go. So we got Ben Thompson and Jean-Stephen Korobov both on 605 kilos. Of course, Coco weighs 1,700 grams less. So at the end of the day, if their totals are tied, he will be the winner. Back in the 105s, we have a Sam Surf with a 532.5 with a pretty unassailable lead. We'll be back in 3 minutes for the final deadlifts of the Static Monsters World Championships 2019, thanks to Explosive Ape. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is the last deadlifts of the 2019 Explosive Ape Static Monsters World Championship here at the Carrara Indoor Sports Stadium. There is a 320 kilos on the bar here for Kingsley Seville, his final deadlift attempt in the 105 kilo class. As soon as Drew Spriggs, the head judge, gives a go, the bar is loaded for Kingsley Seville. In this 105 class, we have the leader, Sam Surf, pretty much unassailable on 5:32. But in the heavyweights, we have both John Stephen Koroboff and Ben Thompson on 6:05. Kingsley's got about 20 seconds left. His best lift of 300 will be his best lift of the day. Bar now goes to 330. 30 for Daniel Amal. Bar is loaded from Daniel Amal, 330 kilos. Remaining for Dan Mal. This is 330 kilo attempt. Unfortunately, not mislift there for Dan Mal. 10 is his best deadlift. The bar now goes to 335. 335 for Chuck Kratulis. At the moment, we've got in second position in this flight, we have a Mason Douglas Cartwright on 465. Chuck is only 5 kilos adrift. He's called for 335 to put him in the second position in the 105 class. The bar is loaded for the Texan Chuck Kratulis. His final deadlift attempt of the day, 335 kilos. Unfortunately not. Now for does leave him in third position, and he's got to wait up just to see where he ends up. We now have a Mason Douglas Cartwright in second position, who's called for 360, 360. Mason is currently in second position. This won't put him as a winner, but it will move him further away. Mitch Mayhew. The bar is loaded here for Mason Douglas Cartwright. Good lift there for Mason Douglas Cartwright. 360 kilos in the books and does put him up in a second position in that 105 class. The bar stays at 360 now for Mitch Mayhew, also in the 105 kilo class. The bar is loaded for Mitch Mayhew. .30 seconds left, Mitch. Unfortunately, not for Mitch today. She's got a final attempt. A few sets. So he's pulled the pin there. His second lift at 350 will be his biggest lift of the day. Bar will now go to 400 kilos. 400 kilos for Sam the Surf. He is the leader in the 105 kilo class and can't be beaten, but he's called for 400 kilos because why not? 400 kilos on the bar. A successful lift will give him a total of 550, which is a remarkable total in the 105 kilo class. Bar is loaded for Sam the Surf in the 105 kilo class. The Victorian's final lift of the day, 400 kilos. He's got about 35 seconds on the clock. We got 400 kilos, ladies and gentlemen, with final attempt. Looks like that bar might be glued to the ground, but anyways, second attempt at 382.5 will be his best, and a total of 532.5 will be enough to win the 105 kilo class. The bar will now go to 405, 405 for Josh Bourne in the open men. Of course, we've got at the top end of the open men, John Stephen and Ben Thompson of 605, but we do have Dan Mason and Josh Bourne very close in the third and fourth position. At the moment, Josh is in fourth on 420, but a successful lift will jump him up in a third position above Dan Mason. So 405 on the bar to put him up in a third position, and then the bar is loaded for Josh Bourne. So his best lift of a 390 will be his best lift for Josh Bourne, and leaving in fourth position on that 525. The bar will now go to 415, 415 for Dan Mason. Just over 900 pounds for the big man from Queensland. Scored for 415. Bar is loaded for Dan Mason, 415 kilos. .30 seconds remaining on the clock. That's a no lift for Dan Mason, unfortunately. That's a no lift for Dan Mason. The bar will now be loaded to 437.5, 437.5 for John Stephen Korobov. Just confirming that no lift for Dan Mason. It wasn't controlled at the top. So this end we got John Stephen Korobov here on 605. Ben Thompson at 605. This will put Coco at a significant lead and leave it up to Ben Thompson to pull for the win. Bar is loaded for Coco. He's a local boy, ladies and gentlemen, a major sponsor of this event. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. A good lift there for Coco, 437.5. Which total of 617 and a half, 670 half for Coco. A bit of a, he seemed pleased with that attempt. It's good to see he's pleased with himself. But a 437 and a half, of course, is an enormous deadlift, and 617 and a half is an enormous total. This man, Ben Thompson, though, has called 457 and a half. So we have seen two 1,000-pound pulls so far. One of them was from this guy, one from Ethan LaRue in the Masters earlier this weekend. But Ben Thompson's called 457 and a half. The bar is loaded for Ben Thompson from Canada. This is for the biggest deadlift so far of the meet, or the biggest deadlift of the meet. Ben Thompson, 457 and a half. He's called it there, ladies and gentlemen. That concludes the final flight of lifting there for the Explosive Ape Static Monsters World Championships 2019. I ask you to hang around for a few minutes. We'll have some presentations, everything else. Whilst you're hanging around, go check out Dan and Stacey over there at the THS stand. Go buy some stuff. Go sample their Mars Bar protein bar. Thank you so much to our sponsor, of course, Explosive Ape, who've been so generous to the sport of strongman around the world, and to Static Monsters. Coco Gym for supporting Static Monsters since day one. James Grafton from Champion Physio, thank you for all your help and supporting all the athletes here. All Metal Magic, of course, for the fantastic trophies. Stand or Submit for the fantastic equipment views here today. And Alpha Fit. We're back in just a few minutes with a presentation and the conclusion of Static Monsters World Championships 2019. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're just winding up now to do the final presentation. Just want to go through and thank all the sponsors, of course, Explosive Ape, the naming rights sponsor of the Explosive Ape Static Monsters World Championship 2019, Coco's Gym, Champion Physio, All Metal Magic, a Stand or Submit, Alpha Fit, and of course, a THS Nutrition down there. We'll be going through the winners, but big thank you to all our spotters and loaders. If we've got a moment to give those guys a round of applause. The spotters and loaders, thank you so much for giving up your weekend to do this. Our judges, John Wells, Colin Webb and Drew Spriggs, for giving up their weekend and their expertise to support this event. And the other support staff, photographers, everyone else that came down to help out today. And of course, Chade Croft, the meet director and creator of Static Monsters. Now, without further ado, we've got Chad over there driving the table. I'm just waiting for Jason to resize some columns or something equally important. Here we go. We're going to do, so today we had the 82.5 kilo women, we had the open women, the masters women, and we also had the 105 and the open men. So here we go in the 82.5 kilo women. In third position from New Zealand with a total of 265, we had Brianna Longstaff. And just to throw us all out, Brianna came around from the wrong direction. Brianna Longstaff there in third position, the 82.5. In second position from Northern Territory was Christy Leahy, 267.5. And the winner from the Northern Territory, an elite athlete in a number of sports now, is Sarah Rodwell with 337.5 kilos. And the best guns in strength athletics. Congratulations to our podium finishers in the 82.5 kilo women. Now in open women, in third position from Queensland, Ali Claire with 310 kilos. In second position from New South Wales with 315, only 5 kilos ahead of Ali, was Lampkin. And from Malaysia, the winner of the open women with 330 kilos was Joyce Heng. Congratulations to our open women podium finishers. Now in the Masters women, we had a highly fought division. And in fact, second and third were super close. But with a total of 262.5 from the Cook Islands was Melanie Apoa. In second position, all the way from the USA, was Amy Romig with 282.5 as a total. And the winner of the Master Women from Tasmania with a total of 355, which is enormous, was Lydia Handke. We've seen Tasmania batting well above its weight today with podium finishes on both days. Well done to our podium finishers in the Masters women's class. Now in the 105 kilo men's class, in third position, Dallas, Texas, with a total of 460, Chuck Krutoulis. In second position with a total of 480 from Queensland, Mason Douglas Cartwright. He was cheering himself and whoever was coming up, and it was actually him. And with an enormous 105 kilo total of 532.5 from Victoria, Sam Surf. And I'm advised that it is the biggest 105 total in Static Monsters history. Well done, Sam Surf. And if Sam doesn't have a VB sponsorship, he's angling for one now. And finally, we have the open men. And what a close battle it was. We had a massive battle between Josh and Daniel for third. And the massive battle between Ben and Coco for the podium for the win. But in third position with a total of 535 was Daniel Mason from Queensland. In second position in the open men, and it was neck and neck with him right up to the end. And with an enormous deadlift of 455, that's 1,000 pounds from Canada, was Ben Thompson, total of 605. And the winner, a man that shouldn't need any introduction, but I'll give you one, is the owner of Coco's Gym on the Gold Coast, big supporter of the sport and a pro strongman, with a total of 617.5. Your winner of the open men, Jean-Steven Koroboff. Angling for the second best guns in the sport. So well done to our open men's winners. So thank you to everyone. Thank you for the supporters that came down and cheered along. Thank you to the loaders, spotters, judges, and the table people. And I'll pass you over to your promoter, Chad Croft.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for coming along today and supporting the event. Thank you to the athletes and especially the sponsors, Coco from Coco's Gym, Jamie Montisalvo, Flavs Basile from Alpha Fit, Dan Cho on the THS team, James Grafton from Champion Health, Mason Donat and Stand or Submit, which you'll see much more of his equipment in the future. All Metal Magic. Bruce, where are you? Where's Bruce hiding? He's definitely hiding. There he is. This is Bruce. He designed and made all the trophies. First managed to get hung. He's not just a sponsor. He was here at 10:30 at night with me on Friday night helping to set up too. Speaking of setup, make sure you walk around and thank all those in the white t-shirts. James, Neil, Callum, Colin, Jason, Lily, Cynthia, Drew, Tim, Tyler, Sam, Alex, Jake, and I've got some others hiding around the back there, but yeah, not really me. Please go around, yeah, James, did I say you? Please go around and thank the loaders and helpers. It definitely wouldn't happen without them. All the sponsors, but thank you for supporting us. October this year is going to be bigger than ever. We've already confirmed 24 countries and over 50 events, all on the same weekend. It will no doubt be the biggest comp in the world once again, and we'll hopefully put on a bigger and better event for you next year. Thank you very much. Goodbye at home. See you next year. Oh yeah, you're all welcome to join us for dinner at Ashmore Seafood and Steak at 6:30 p.m. tonight. It's just casual, turn up if you want. You don't have to, but we'll just be going there for a chat and a good big feed. Anyone wants to help us pack up, you're more than welcome to help us too.